The windshield cracked before I even saw her face. Just a sharp splintering sound, like ice giving way under too much pressure. I stood there, phone still in my hand, one unread message glowing on the screen. A single text from her. "Why aren't you answering me?" Sent 7 minutes ago. 7 minutes. The next thing I knew, she was breathing hard, gripping a small metal tire iron as if the world owed her an apology. Sunlight glinted off the broken glass scattered across the hood like a constellation made only of sharp edges. She stared at me with that familiar mix, fear pretending to be anger, love pretending to be possession. "I warned you," she said. Her voice was trembling more than the tool she dropped at her feet. "If you can't handle me at my worst," she whispered, "you don't deserve me at my best." I should have felt shocked. I didn't, because the truth had been cracking long before the windshield did. All week she'd been slipping, strange silences, sudden bursts of neediness, explanations that never aligned with the questions she claimed I wasn't asking. I looked at her, then at the slowly crumbling reflection of myself in the broken glass. Something inside me hardened, not anger, recognition. "You're right," I said quietly. "I don't want your best." And when I dialed the police, I realized it wasn't her outburst that shook me. It was how prepared I felt for it. The fight didn't start with shattered glass. It started a month earlier, with a lipstick stain I wasn't meant to notice. She always claimed she didn't like red. Too bold, she said, too attention-seeking. Yet it appeared on a shirt I rarely wore, a faint smudge near the collar. The wrong shape to be accidental, and the wrong shade to be her usual muted tones. I asked about it casually. She laughed too quickly, blamed a coworker's hug. I let it go, but something inside me cataloged the moment like evidence. After that, the inconsistencies multiplied. Late-night meetings with no emails to confirm them. Phone calls she silenced before they fully rang. A perfume that wasn't hers lingering on her jacket. And the guilt. Too much guilt for someone who claimed innocence. But I didn't accuse her. Accusations are messy. Instead, I watched, listened, collected. She grew more frantic as I grew quieter. She mistook my silence for distance, my patience for indifference. She clung harder, texted faster, demanded more, and in the process she exposed even more cracks. One night, while she showered, her phone lit up beside me, a name I didn't recognize, a preview of a message I did. "He doesn't suspect a thing." Tonight I didn't open it. I didn't need to. The truth isn't loud, it whispers, and that whisper was enough to shift the ground beneath my feet. I realized something then. All her dramatics, her need for constant reassurance, her desperate attempts to keep my eyes on her, weren't about me. They were camouflage, a distraction from something rotting beneath the surface. So when she smashed the windshield, when she blamed my slow texting for her spiral, all I saw was confirmation. Not shock, not betrayal, just the inevitable collapse of a lie she'd been trying too hard to maintain. I didn't confront her. People like her feed on confrontation. It gives them room to twist the narrative, to redraw the lines of guilt until the story no longer resembles the truth. Instead, I did what I always do. I observed. I pulled phone records, quietly, methodically. Patterns emerged. Late-night calls, repeated numbers, times aligning suspiciously with her urgent deadlines. I checked bank statements, small charges at places she'd never mentioned, hotel receipts, nothing extravagant, but enough to raise a quiet storm in my chest. Still, I said nothing. It's strange how silence can build pressure without making a sound. She felt it. She tried to fill the space between us with affection, then with anger, then with guilt. "I feel like you're pulling away," she said one night, her voice soft in a way she rarely used anymore. I just looked at her. "I'm right here." And technically I was. Inside, though, I had already stepped back. For weeks I played the role she expected, supportive, present, unaware. Meanwhile, I waited for the final piece. Not a guess, not a suspicion, proof. When it arrived, it didn't come from a dramatic confrontation. It came in an email, anonymous. One sentence: "She's been lying to both of us." Attached was a photo. Her, in a restaurant with the same man who texted her that night. Their hands too familiar, her smile too real. I stared at the image for a long moment, not because it hurt, but because it clarified something I've been denying. I wasn't dealing with love. I was dealing with someone who needed control, not connection. Someone who used affection as leverage, and anger as camouflage.
Her outbursts weren't passion, they were panic. The panic of someone who knows the facade is cracking but can't stop picking at the seams. So I waited, prepared, watched her dig herself deeper with every lie. And when the moment finally came, when she smashed the windshield over a delayed text, I knew the timing was perfect. The mask had slipped, and she didn't even realize it. The truth didn't need a speech. It only needed a folder. When the police arrived and pulled me aside, asking what happened, she hovered behind them, wide-eyed and trembling, performing panic instead of feeling it. I told them the facts. Only the facts. Calm. Measured. She threw her hands up, insisting it was a misunderstanding, that I was ignoring her on purpose, that she was pushed to the edge emotionally. But when the officers asked if there had been previous issues, I simply handed them the folder. Phone logs, receipts, the anonymous photo, and her message from earlier that night, guilt-laden in a way she didn't realize was incriminating. I didn't accuse her of cheating. I didn't need to. The evidence spoke for itself. Her face changed as she watched the officers flip through the papers, color draining, lips trembling. She wasn't scared of being caught. She was scared of losing control of the story. When they placed her in the back of the car for property damage, she snapped, not violently, emotionally. "This isn't what Marilyn Monroe meant," she shouted, as if misquoted inspiration would rewrite reality. I looked at her through the broken glass shimmer on the ground. For the first time, she truly saw me, not the version she manipulated, not the one she tried to guilt into staying. Me, quiet, resolved, unreachable. And in that silence, she finally broke. She expected me to shout, to argue, to plead, to make her feel important again. Instead, I stepped closer to the cop car window, not enough for her to touch the narrative, just enough for her to hear the truth she'd been avoiding. "I knew," I said softly. Her breath caught. "I knew before tonight, before the messages, before the receipts." Her eyes widened, panic mixing with disbelief. She tried to speak,